kids are getting pretty wild in there, man. Is that safe?
Yeah, they're fine. I've got their keys.
Start off where we left off yesterday, talking about the Americans before the
Hey, have a beer, man. You deserve it.
It's not worth it. Underage drinking risks everything you're working for.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Safe Streets Coalition meeting. My name is Chris Schultz. I'll be your host today, and I'm glad we chose such a beautiful day to have this meeting here at the Great Overland Station. Thank you so much for being here to make sure that we can try and make Topeka and Shawnee County the safest capital community in the country. So we have an incredible presentation. How about that food? Let's hear for that. Amazing. Thank you so much for being here to help celebrate the holidays with us. Now, we would like to remind you to please sign in on the yellow sheets so we know that you've come here so that we can send you information about this meeting. Do we have any guests with us here today? Back over here. Oh, yes, right here. Look, we're going to pick on this guy over here. We always do this. What's your name?
David McCoy.
David McCoy. I actually went to school with your brother, I think. Yeah, cool. It's a small world after all, isn't it? Well, welcome and thank you for being here with us. Oh, we've got big brothers and big sisters over here. Let's check in over here. Well, let's find out. I'm Chris. What are you guys' names?
Jennifer and Umberto, and we're from the Kansas DUI Impact Center in Wichita, Kansas.
Very nice. Well, thank you for being here with us today.
She said it all.
She got it. Yeah, right. Oh, what's your name?
Umberto.
Oh, okay. So you're Jennifer, and not Jennifer Umberto. Okay. All right. Good. All right. And we have our friends from Big Brothers Big Sisters right back over here. Excellent. How are you?
Hi, I am Kat with Big Brothers Big Sisters. I'm on the programming side of things. We're glad to be here. And then this is...
I'm Eric Madu. I'm the area director for Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Excellent. Well, welcome, and thank you so much for being here. Let's have a big round of applause for all of our guests. And anyone who is a guest who'd like to join up with the coalition, just talk to Judy right over here. She'll get you signed up, and we'd be happy to have you here. All right. Now we do have a new member, Becca Spielman with Communities in Schools in Mid-America. Give her a round of applause right over here. All right, and without any further ado, I'd like to introduce the chair of Safe Streets, Trey George, to come up here and give us the tip of the month. He loves applause.
Thank you, Chris. How's everybody doing today? Good, good. For the tip of the month is generosity. It's perfect for this time of year. The holidays are a perfect time to be generous with your neighbors and community. Bake cookies, shovel snow, go the extra mile to show your kindness. A connected community is a healthier and safer community. One thing I find with our job, and you can find it with the Safe Streets Coalition as well, is we have a extremely generous community. For a relatively small town, there are a lot of very giving, very caring companies and individuals. I think we see that every year with the National Night Out, the different organizations that step up and help out. So I would encourage all of you to go out, especially this month, but all the time, and be generous and take care of your community. Thank you all very much. Turn back over to Chris. And he also loves applause.
All right, and before we get to the press conference portion of our show here today, we would like to thank our friends from City 4, Ronaldo back here, bringing this to everyone in the city. Thank you, Ronaldo. All right, and now, without any further ado, please welcome Cindy Patton and Noni Kramer with the Character Council here, and anybody who's on that committee, if you could join us up at the front to present our Champion of Character.
Thank you very much. I'd like to call up our champion of character for this month, David, is it Masiki? Meskey, okay. And I'd also like to call up these students that are with you. This is all part of the same thing. David was nominated for his work as a teacher with the Jobs for America's Graduates program at Topeka West High School. He uses his time with students to emphasize the importance of character education. And I believe we have Karen Hiller here to make a presentation.
Is this one? Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm on the Character Council and okay, and serve on the City Council. And I'm also proud to have actually been in David Meskey's classroom with his JAG class, and I can tell you that from first person, I've seen the kids out taking pictures, I've seen the photos that they've done, and Cindy's got their calendar, and I've also, as a guest speaker in that classroom, been able to interact with phenomenal questions and answers and life experience. And so it, not just given an award, but personally having been involved in what you're doing and how impressive it is, and you as students as well. So, on behalf of the Character Recognition Council, this month we recognize David Meskey. As the strength of our nation is dependent upon the health and safety of its communities, the strength of our community is dependent upon the character of its citizens. We, the Character Council of Kansas, in conjunction with the City of Topeka, Character and Safe Streets Coalition of Topeka and Shawnee County, recognize David Meskey. David is nominated for his work with the Jobs for America's Graduates, also known as JAG, Jobs for America's Graduates program at Topeka West High School. He uses his time with students to emphasize the importance of character education as they move forward into their future as employees. Over the past several years, his classes have focused on creating character word and motivational graphics to be printed and sold as an entrepreneurial lesson. His ability to connect students with community partnerships and service learning through character education with demonstrating attentiveness, resourcefulness, and creativity makes David Meskey a champion of character. Congratulations.
Thank you. Do you guys want to say anything?
I just want to thank you for this, but also want to say I accept this on behalf of the students. They did all the work for the calendar, and I noticed the character word of the month was generosity, and they haven't just been working on the calendar, but they've been working on different projects. Some students have been volunteering at the Ronald McDonald House, different schools in the town, and other projects as well. So they've been doing all the work, and I just sit there and enjoy it. So thank you.
We have some of these copies of these calendars if you're interested. They're $10 a piece. We're splitting the profits with, I think it's 60-40. 60 goes to this class, 40 goes to Topeka City of Character. And of course we have to cover all the printing and that kind of thing. So be sure and take a look at these. If you're interested, $10 is what they cost. And they're just a wonderful representation of Topeka, plus the kids, they did all the quotes, like this one for respect. As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them, JFK. So wonderful quotes, wonderful thoughts, and of course the word of the month with the definition. So thank you so much, guys. This has just been a wonderful project. We're so excited about the collaboration with your class. You're awesome. Thank you.
And as Dave has been so gracious to thank his students and share this, I've known this guy for many, many years, and he's always had a selfless commitment to his community and his students, and I think he deserves another round of applause. All right, and now we have a little business to get taken care of. We need to approve the minutes from last month's meeting, so I will open up the floor for a motion for that. We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of approval of the minutes, please say aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, the minutes are approved, and that brings us to the most glamorous part of this presentation. Please welcome the one and only Executive Director, Christy Pankratz.
Wow, okay. It is so great to see everyone here today, and especially all of our law enforcement partners. We have kind of a great look at different agencies as far as presentations go today. We have the SWAT robot is going to be demonstrated by the Shawnee County Sheriff's Office here in a bit. He would not let me drive it, so I just want to go on record as saying I did ask, but I was denied that. Yeah. And we have some information from the Topeka Fire Department coming up here pretty soon. So this is just a great time of year to get information out. We have so many people that are out and about, more activities going on, so it's even more important to be vigilant and cautious of what's going on. So we have some tips that are on your chair. I encourage you to take these and share these. We will be emailing these out as well, so just share these with people. Any little thing that you can do this time of year. Whether it's taking a precaution like locking your vehicle or baking cookies for your neighbor, the generosity, just do what you can this time of year. I will say that Jamie Slack was one of our community mobilizers. She has left our agency for bigger and better things, unfortunately, so we are a little short-staffed right now, but we are still raring to go with Neighborhood Watch. We have 3 new ones coming up this next week. So we're just very excited about that. And if you have a neighborhood that is interested in getting involved, please see me or Judy afterwards, and we will be happy to get you guys set up. We believe that a connected community is a better community, so anything that we can do to help that, we are here for. We have a couple of different events coming up. We have a substance abuse task force that meets monthly. We have gotten a couple different grants, and we're breaking off into work groups. So if you're a data person and you're interested in looking at numbers as far as substance abuse goes among kids, we have a data group that's meeting the 15th. Please see me for additional details on when that is. We have a culture and capacity group that's meeting, that's really taking a look at, are we meeting the needs of everyone in the community? So I would encourage you to see me about that as well too. For area business, we are combining with banking establishments to host a quarterly retailer meeting. It is the 14th, and if you're interested, please see me for time and location. That's mainly for loss prevention officers and store managers. And the next substance abuse task force meeting will be in January. We do not have a January meeting, usually because it ends up being canceled if we do, due to weather. But we will reconvene in February, where Highland Park High School will be doing a presentation for us there. So I encourage you, it is so great to start seeing kids involved. David's kids are even helping us with taking pictures today. So it's wonderful to see all this activity going on. So we really appreciate that. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. And now it's time for our partner updates. Please welcome Sergeant Dan Wilson with the Topeka Police Department.
Thank you. First off, I want to congratulate Trey. I'm sure plenty of you have seen his face in the 20 under 40, but I just wanted to congratulate him from the police department. Our crime stats, violent crime across the city, as you can see, some of the numbers are holding steady, some are down. Assaults, batteries are down. When you're out and about, if you see something doesn't look right, call us. That's what we're there for. Be a good witness. Property crimes. Property crimes are also kind of holding steady. Our shopliftings are fairly far down. Burglaries are down. Those are good numbers. Keep up the good work, lock up your stuff, turn on your lights, don't be a victim, help us out during the holiday season. We started this last month, doing some slides about some of the stuff we've been doing and some of the stuff we're going to be doing. This Saturday we have the Cops and Kids. It's a FOP run activity. We're going to be at the East Walmart with about 100 kids, I think, from Big Brothers Big Sisters, and then up at the North Walmart with some families from TARC. We take them out. It used to be referred to as Shop with a Cop. A lot of our guys and girls go out off duty from the Sheriff's Department and Police Department, spend some quality time with these organizations. Some of the tips Chrissy already talked about, don't advertise to your burglars. Don't put your 55-inch TV box out by your trash. If you need to, cut it up or recycle it. Package deliveries, a good tip I just recently heard was just have it delivered to your business if possible. That way it's not sitting on your porch all day. Mail and newspapers, just pay attention. If you think you haven't gotten mail for a couple days, something's going on. And pay attention to your accounts and stuff like that, anything that's going through the mail. This is an event we did last week. We went out to Winter Wonderland and worked if you've been out there, we worked the front gate, taking money, talking with people. They were a little surprised to see us out there. It was enjoyable, it was a good time. This is another event we've started doing. We've started partnering with the community centers. Once a month, we're going to each one of the 4 community centers, playing sports with them, talking to the kids. Last month we talked about bullying, and then we attempted to play some basketball with a few of the kids. So it was enjoyable. I'm not sure if we enjoyed it or the kids enjoyed it, but it was a good time. So keep up the good work through the holidays. Happy holidays to everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Sergeant Wilson. All right, now, if you see this next presentation coming at you, you know you've probably done something really bad. So please welcome our friends from the Shawnee County Sheriff's Office here with our SWAT robot. And this robot likes applause too, so you better.
Good afternoon. My name is Corporal Steve Evans, and today I have Deputy Jason Mills with me as he's bringing our new partner from the Sheriff's Office, our mini caliber robot. We started this approximately 2 years ago and looking at how we could bring some officer safety, some proficiency, and efficiency to the way we handle SWAT calls and other calls throughout the community. Just about 6 months ago was the culmination in the purchase of the mini caliber when we took it from I-Corps once it was built. It takes approximately 3 months for them to build this robot. This is considered a medium-sized robot. It weighs 65 pounds. It is able to work in all types of weather conditions. It's very lightweight. It can be carried on a backpack, believe it or not, to a location. We work in a rural area, and sometimes you're not able to drive all the way up there to it. It has 5 camera systems on it. He's standing back in the back off a camera, and he is just driving it just on the cameras that he has there. You'll see the mass camera. That is generally the camera that he drives off of. There's a rear and a forward camera on the bottom of the housing, and then he has 2 cameras up at the top that he uses for the claw. One is a zoom at the very top, and then there's a very small one, a macro or micro camera that you can't see, that he's able to really look with the claw. That is the biggest problem we have in operating this robot, is the depth perception, and so he tries to utilize all those cameras in doing that. Also, they are also infrared, so they're able to go at nighttime or total darkness, slight darkness. There also is lights on it, so he can have LED lights if he needs to be. It also has a speaker system, so we can negotiate through it if we need to, and it also has, of course, a listening, so we can use it as passive listening also too if we need to get anywhere. One of the main reasons we went with this robot is the ease of operation. He's standing just over to the side, but if you look at his control unit, it is all push button, but still driven by joystick. One of the biggest obstacles for a robot is stairs. And so what he does, he just pushes a button and it automatically puts the tracks into stair mode for climbing up or down. Then it also, when you're coming down, it limits the power so it doesn't tip over itself. It is very balanced. There's front and rear motors are put in there. It's for the balance displacement to make it ease of the stairs. Everything is made so in a high stress environment, he is able to utilize it and work it very efficiently. As you can see, he can do a lot of things with it. The claw, as you see in the front, it has different types of tools that he can attach to it. He can extend the pole up through a drop ceiling and look through that. Another thing is he can, if it's a barricade in a car, he can pierce the tires and make it so it can't drive away from us. It also breaks windows. One of the biggest thing you can do is on the claw, it's 360, so he's able to turn doorknobs and open up doors and go in them, push doors, even the bar doors. You can attach a little wristband to it, pull it down, then push through the door. It's really able to bring officer safety to a paramount. When somebody's on the other side of the door and is armed, then you put this in. It is not armored, because if it was armored, you'd really drain the batteries due to the weight. So we're looking forward to putting it out in the community and working with it, and seeing how well it enhances and makes it efficient for us to operate in the community. It also has its own Wi-Fi system, so we can set up little iPads. You can take up to 4 iPads. It's a secure Wi-Fi system, so the captains and the other command staff can watch and see what's going on. It has a portable DVR system, so we can video record everything that we're watching. We can also take some still photos off of that and look and analyze things. So it brings a lot of enhancement to our ability to do our job. Thank you.
Wow. RoboCop's here, all right. That's amazing. Thank you very much for that presentation. Can we see the controller? I think we all want to see that, right? This thing's pretty cool.
That's just what the corporal was saying. It's got a heads-up display here. Everything you want to do with the controls, everything right here just goes up and down. And so right now I'm trying to put it back into home mode. So just bring it down. Just move around. It's really easy to use. After you use it about, half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, you can pretty much learn to control it, so it's not too bad. If you got kids that play video games, they'll be able to do this pretty easily, so that's about it.
Very good. Well, thank you very much. Give him a nice round of applause. It's not something you see every day. Very cool. All right, now please welcome for our next special presentation, Mike Martin from the Topeka Fire Department.
Is this one, Martin? Yeah, it is. All right. Thank you very much. First of all, I just want to say thanks to Safe Streets for giving us the opportunity to come up here and talk to you all about a little holiday safety. I appreciate the festive environment we have today and the wonderful holiday meal. I will say Christy always does go overboard. I think the snow was a little much. I felt festive without it, but thank you. It was a nice touch. Unfortunately, this time of year we do see a number of fires, and sometimes those do occur with some of the decorations that we put up to celebrate the season. So wanted to take just a little bit of time and go through some of our holiday decorations and talk about some fire safety issues. So first thing we'll talk about is a Christmas tree, which a lot of people like to have in their house. I personally think the artificial tree is the best route to go. They're fire resistant. I think everybody should remember in that fire resistant doesn't mean that it won't burn. So we still have to be careful about putting space heaters, candles, or anything next to them. It just means it doesn't burn well, so it will still burn. I think probably the biggest fire hazard we see are artificial trees. And when we go out shopping for artificial trees, it's not something that you want to just stop someplace, grab a tree, and tie to your car and bring home. Really take a look at the tree, take a look at the needles on there, bend them, make sure that they're pliable so that we still have some moisture in there. Feel the bottom of the trunk of the tree at the base, see if it's sticky with resin. If it's sticky with resin, it still has some life left in it. So we want to be able to have those trees that are going to be able to take up some moisture and are going to be safe in the house. If you pound it on the ground a little bit, there'll be some needles fall, but we don't want to see a whole lot. So take that few minutes and really take a good look at your tree before you bring it home. Once we do get it home, it's really important not just to bring it straight into the house. So again, this is all those things that we want to rush and we want to get that tree up, but take that little bit of extra time just to be safe. Cut off about 1 inch or 2 on the bottom of the tree to open it back up. That sap, if it's a good live tree, when they cut it down, that sap's going to close all the pores on the bottom. So we're going to cut off about 1 inch or 2 on the bottom. and then stick it in a gallon of water and let it set out in the garage for a couple days. Let it soak up some of that water so it comes back to life and it gets some good moisture into it. And then when we bring it into the house, make sure it's in a good base that has a capacity to hold a lot of water. These trees can take up a quart or two of water a day. So we really want to make sure that we're taking the time to keep the tree watered. I think we can go to the next. Nope, I think I talked about that already. I'm ahead of the game. I wanted to show you this video, and I don't want to scare anybody away from getting a live tree because they are wonderful, they smell great, and it's a really, sometimes a family-oriented thing to go out and get the tree. But as long as the tree is maintained well and we make sure it's watered and we make sure it's live, they can be very safe. But this is a video of a tree that is dry, that wasn't kept watered. And I just want to show you how quickly that these things will burn. So they're gonna do you'll see a little spark here in a second. There we go. 2 seconds, 4, 5, 7, 8. We're less than 15 seconds in and this room is almost untenable. We've 19 seconds in, the fire spread to the chair. 20-some seconds in, we've already moved to the couch. The fire's burning. It's starting to bank down. This isn't a survivable room at this point. You can see that the room is kind of flashed. Everything started fire at once. So 38, 40 seconds, and we've got a complete room on fire that's pumping smoke into the rest of your house. So if we want to have that live tree, really any tree on those decorations, make sure we're doing all the safety precautions we can. Make sure that tree stays watered. Make sure that we don't have any candles, space heaters, or anything near it. Like I said, this is a great and joyous time of the year, but it also can be a very deadly. There's about 400 fires that happen nationally this time of year associated with decorations. And typically what we see are the lights short-circuiting on a tree, and that's what will cause the fire. So we want to take a really good look at our lights. So just like anything you buy, you want to make sure it's safe. You want to look for that good UL lab or some type of laboratory testing on our lights. We want to take the time to take them and look through them all. Make sure that the wires aren't cracked or frayed. You know, if you're like me, you wind them up at the end of the year, you put them in the tote and you put them away. And when we bring them out the next year, we really want to take the time to make sure that they stored properly and that they're not getting too old and we don't need to replace them. We like to see the miniature bulbs on trees simply because they put out less heat. Nowadays they have the LED ones which put out almost no heat and they're a lot more energy efficient as well. So we like to see those on the trees because we're just not having as much current running through them and we're not producing as much heat. Anytime that we're decorating the tree, we want to make sure that those lights aren't coming in contact with it. So as you string those lights around, make sure you're taking a look, make sure they're not leaning up against ornaments or the tree and have the potential to get hot. Electrical cords, make sure you're using a good electrical cord that is UL tested. Make sure that you're not running those underneath rugs or where people are going to walk on them, and pick an appropriate size extension cord for the use. We don't want a 50-foot cord when we need to cover 10 feet, because what you're going to do then is you're going to wind up wrapping that up and kind of stuffing it somewhere, and when you coil electrical wires, they can generate heat. So we want to use an appropriate length cord for the trees, and we only want to plug those into one outlet, one string per outlet. So we want to make sure that we're doing that properly, and just never use lighted candles on or near trees. It's just too much of a risk. So if you're going to put candles, put them in a room where there's not a lot of decorations, or make sure that everything's cleared from that area. And we're going to move on to outdoor lights, and it's kind of the same thing. We want to make sure we're picking those good lights. One of the really important things to do, once you inspect the lights, once you've looked, you make sure they're all going, go ahead and leave them on for an hour. Set them in your garage, leave them on, and make sure they're working properly. Go through then and make sure they're not heating up, make sure nothing's smoking. Do that with your indoor lights as well. So give them an opportunity to actually operate for a while before we start decorating with them. Again, make sure there's no frayed or bared wires. And it says on this to use, when you're using the standard incandescent bulbs, to not put more than 3 sets together because we're just drawing too much power through them. A lot of the LED bulbs now, you can have as many as 10 strings together of a like type, and you'll be fine. So really read those instructions on the lighting that you buy and make sure that you're following the manufacturer's recommendations. And this is a tough one because everybody likes to have their house look pretty, but get a timer, test it, make sure it's working, and make sure at bedtime the lights are off. We just don't want to have those lights burning all night and risk something happening and you're in bed sleeping and you don't know about it. So get a good timer, or before you go to bed, flip off the lights and wait to be festive again tomorrow. We talked about this. Make sure to check everything. Check all your holiday lighting, and make sure that they're running before we put them up. Another holiday thing, and I touched on a little bit, is candles. Everybody seems to love candles around the holiday season. I know my wife, there's a candle about every flat surface in the house about this time, and it drives me insane. So when you have those candles, especially if you have pets or children around, you can't have a candle burning unless you're in the room. You need to be in that room where the candle's burning, or you need to put it out. A lot of people will walk away from them and think, well, it's in a safe area, there's no combustibles around there. All it really takes is for the furnace to kick on, or for somebody to walk in the door and it's windy out and a piece of paper to float off a cabinet or something and land next to the candle, and you have a fire. And we see that a lot with candles. We see wind will push the curtains over and touch the curtains next to the candle. So just make sure that children and pets are kept away from candles. They're not in drafty areas, and you don't have candles in the bathroom while you're spraying hairspray or anything aerosol that can light them off, because believe it or not, that's something that does happen every year. So, and again, they're just an invitation to disaster if you're not watching them. When you go to bed at night, when you put the candle out, not only snuff it out, but get a wet paper towel or something and wet the wick. Make sure that it's out. Those wicks can smolder for a long time, and it just takes something to drop on there, and there's a potential for a fire to occur. So the other candles, make sure if you're not using the glass jar candles, and if you're using votive candles, make sure if you're using votive candles that there's enough sand in the bottom of the bag to keep it stable. Make sure that the candle you're using doesn't come close enough in contact to the bag that's going to start a fire. And really, most importantly, in my opinion, for votive candles, get the battery-powered ones. They're very inexpensive. They last for a long time. It puts out a nice-looking flame inside the bag, just the same as a candle does, and it's really a lot safer. I kind of recommend the electric candles everywhere in the house. I just think they're safer. There's just too much potential with an open flame in a house. So give that some consideration if you would. And the last thing I kind of want to talk about is cooking. This time of year, we run a lot of fires related to cooking incidents, and there's just so many incidents occur, and really they're all completely preventable if you're paying attention and you're watching the stuff that you're cooking. I do all the holiday cooking in my house, and I can tell you it's a complete disaster when I'm cooking. So I'm a bad example, but keep your areas clean, watch what you're doing the whole time that you're cooking. Importantly, stay in the kitchen when you're frying, grilling, or broiling. Those things that are on the stovetop, they require constant attention. Even if the baking instructions, the cooking instructions say to simmer for 10 minutes and you set a timer, just don't leave the room. We also want to make sure that we provide a kid-free zone when we're cooking, about 3 feet away from the stove. A good thing to do if you have kids or grandkids is to buy a non-flammable mat and set in front of the stove, and just let the children know that they can't cross the mat. So it's a good way to put a protected area. Make sure the handles are turned in so that there's no scalding, and just really make sure that the kids, while they can help cook and do that under your supervision, we want to keep them away from the stove. Okay. A couple things on if a fire does occur. If a fire occurs in a microwave and you see it, don't open it up. And that's the same within a stove. If smoke starts pouring out of the stove or a microwave, you want to turn them off, turn the stove off, take that heat away. But a lot of times what's happening in those enclosed environments is you'll see some flame and there'll be a lot of smoke, and all that fire really needs is some oxygen. So if you open up that stove and give it some oxygen, you're going to have a lot more fire. You're going to have a lot more stuff coming out of there. So anytime you see a fire in those microwaves or stoves, just keep them closed, turn them off, and call the fire department. We're happy to come out and just to make sure everything's safe, to help get some of the smoke out of the house. But we'd rather have you call and have us deal with the fire that's in there than try and deal with it yourself. So just keep it closed. And another thing, as far as frying, whenever you're frying anything on the stove, keep an appropriate sized lid nearby. We don't want to throw flour, we don't want to throw salt or baking soda or any of those things on a grease fire. The only thing you need to do is have a lid and some type of glove or something there. If the flames start up on that, you drop the lid on the pan. It's going to take away the oxygen from there. You turn off the stove, and you get out of the house and call the fire department. We'll come and make sure everything's safe, okay? So very quick, it's very easy. Put the lid on top of the grease fire, and that's all you need to do. Lid and turn off the heat. Okay. And, lastly, we talk about it all the time, but everybody needs working smoke alarms in their house. We can be as safe as we want to be, and we can all be very, very vigilant in what we do, but fires are going to occur. They happen all the time. So test those smoke alarms in your house monthly. If you don't have a smoke alarm in your house, call the fire department at 368-4000. We install them free. We will drive out to your house in the big red truck. We'll evaluate where you need smoke alarms in your house, and we'll install them at no cost. So there is no reason why anybody in this room should not have a working smoke alarm in their house. Just call us up and we'll take care of it. So, and lastly, we just want to make sure from the Topeka Fire Department, your Topeka Fire Department, that you have a safe and joyous holiday. Be careful, look in advance. There's going to be a lot of parties that people are going to go to. There's going to be a lot of gatherings. Keep in mind our general safety rules. Anytime you go to a gathering, today when you walked in here, you should have looked around. I need to know what my 2 ways out are if there's an emergency. So talk to your kids, make sure that they know that anytime they go to any type of function that they look for their 2 ways out. Make sure your smoke alarms are working, and I hope everybody has a great holiday. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mike. Greatly appreciate that. And if you haven't taken advantage of the fire alarms, I highly recommend that. I live in a 3-story house, have 3 fire alarms, all installed professionally and quickly by members of the Topeka Fire Department. So it's a great program, especially if you have rental units too. That's something to also consider. I just want to thank all of you for attending today and for being part of the Safe Streets Coalition. Moving forward, next year will be a brand new year, and encourage you to, if you have ideas for different presentations or different things that we as a group can do, encourage you to write that down on that green sheet of paper in front of you. That will help us plan for the coming year and different activities and things we can do regarding crime prevention, safety, and health in the community. So just thank you guys so much for attending, and we're out a little bit early, but encourage you to mingle and socialize and enjoy the remnants of your food. So thank you all very much. Have a happy holiday.